All right, everybody. Hello and welcome. This is Josh Zwagil. If you're just joining us, throw a message in the chat. Say hello. Hey, Aaron Parker. Good to have you on. This is Josh Zwagil, CEO and founder of My Daily Choice. This is my last training video in my series. I'm incredibly excited to get to do some training for you guys today. We're going to give it just a couple minutes and let everybody come on. So if you're just joining us, throw a message in the chat. Let's see, we've got Tamara from Vegas. We have, let's see, Haley. Who else do we have? Bill Shoemaker, Dean. We have Romania in the house, Phoenix, Arizona, Indiana, Wisconsin, Missouri, Ohio, Texas. If you're in an international country, different country outside of the US, throw a message in the chat. Martinique, welcome aboard. We just turned Fuel Factor X live in Martinique and some of the Caribbean islands. So welcome aboard. Tennessee, Wisconsin, Florida. Ed and Jennifer from It's Somewhere, Montana. All right, everybody. So hello and welcome. I'm going to give it just about 30 more seconds, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. The first training video that I did, which I highly recommend taking a look at this training video if you haven't taken a look at it yet, is the 10 and 2 and mentality video. It's in your My Daily Choice back office. That is one of the very best videos to use for brand new people in your organization. I feel like it's an incredibly important conversation that they should hear when they first join the business. 10 and 2 is one of the quickest roadmaps to help people get to $500 to $1,000 for their first paycheck. And so a lot of leaders right now are using that video and having tremendous success. The second video was becoming a master recruiter, learning how to prospect, learning how to pique interest, get people to a presentation, edification. That was all in video 2. Video 3, we talked about leveraging the tools. As you guys know, in My Daily Choice, we're very fortunate to have so many amazing systems and tools that are all 100% free. And so sometimes because the tools are free, people don't use them. Usually leaders have to learn about all the different tools. And so that video walks you through all of the different tools available, from the capture pages to shareable carts to live stream. Highly, highly recommend taking a look at that video. And then the next video, we talked about tap rooting. Tap rooting is a fundamental skill that I feel everybody needs to know. How to tap root in network marketing. What that can do for your business is create depth in your organization. You will find some of your best people from tap rooting. And then the last training video that we did was on the compensation plan. And so that was the big request. People wanted a really good training video on the compensation plan. Why is it the best? What are the different ways to get paid? And so that's what we did on the last training video. And in this training video, we're primarily going to focus on launching your business and mastering the power of meetings and events. I feel like this is another really important topic. This is something that can really help you 10x your business, explode your business, create momentum. And so we're gonna focus on that in this training video. And so first things first, let's talk a little bit about the philosophy behind this. If I'm building a network marketing business, I want my business to be predictable. And you have to start thinking of this like a business. Any business, whether you start a traditional business or a franchise, you want it to be predictable. You want to be able to forecast your sales. If you talk to the executives at Exxon or Google or Apple, they'll be able to tell you how much sales they're going to do in 2023. They're going to be able to tell you what their 5-year forecast is, their 2-year forecast, their 3-year forecast in sales. But you talk to network marketers about their forecast of sales or how much volume they're going to do, and it's almost like they completely draw blank. They don't know. And so how come in some businesses you can forecast your sales and you can predict how much revenue you're going to do, but for some network marketers, they have absolutely no clue? The reason why is because of something very simple. Some people are launching their business and leveraging events and meetings and creating launch momentum, and some people aren't. And so write this down. Amateurs join a network marketing business, and professionals launch. Amateurs join and professionals launch. Think of it this way. PlayStation 5. Every year there's a new iPhone, Xbox, all of these different things that, we see out there. They launch it. When it comes out, they launch it. There are launch videos, there's commercials, there's ads. It's like a huge production, and they launch. And then people get involved in network marketing, and it's almost like they quietly join. They're quiet about their business. They're not launching. They're very quiet. It's like, maybe I'm going to send some people to my website. Maybe I'm going to do a call here. It's like they're in witness protection. All of a sudden, they're like scared to talk about what they're doing in network marketing. And I feel like one of the most dangerous things, I would call it a deadly sin of what happens in network marketing, is when a leader wishes, waits, and hopes for their team to do something. You got a team in place, whether it's 5 people, 10 people, 100 people, 200 people, and you're wishing and waiting. You're waiting for your team to do something. You're hoping that your team grows. You're hoping that your team is going to rank up. You're hoping that your team's going to talk to more people. Wishing, waiting, and hoping does not get you to where you want to go. If you want to take this thing big, if you want to hit super affiliate, if you want to, break ranks, if you want to create a lot of volume, if you want to get to the next level of income, you have to be prepared to launch. You got to know how to launch. You got to launch your people. And maybe it's time for you to relaunch your business. Maybe you've been in for a year and you've never been loud about My Daily Choice. Well, maybe it's time to relaunch. And so I want to tell you a quick story before I get into the power of meetings and events. This kind of ties into it, but I want to tell you about a quick story of a new team in My Daily Choice. And all they're doing is launching. They're launching every day, to the point where it's like, man, these guys aren't even freaking eating. They're forgetting to eat. You know why they're forgetting to eat? Because they're so busy launching. And so this team came into My Daily Choice about 5 weeks ago, and it started out with one person. One person came here to the My Daily Choice office, a leader in the network marketing industry. And from that first meeting, after he decided to join the business, he very quickly promoted to another meeting here at the office for 7 people. So there were about 7 people that came to that next meeting. And the thing is like, when you really learn about how meetings work in network marketing, the key, which we're going to talk about, is promoting from meeting to meeting. It's almost like, think of it like a train. A train's going, and as a train is going on its way, there's more people getting on the train every time it stops. Every time it stops, a bunch of people come in. Goes to the next stop, a bunch of people pile in. That's kind of how you want your network marketing business to work, where there's a train of people that's growing from meeting to meeting. And so the reason why this is such an important conversation is because a lot of people aren't even including this in their strategy. Like, how I talked about in some of the previous training videos, you have skill set, you have mindset, and you have strategy. Well, some of this in this training video is skill set, but a lot of it is strategy. You need a event and meeting strategy in your business. You need to be able to promote from meeting to meeting. And if you're not doing meetings and you don't even know what meetings are happening in your team, it's going to be very hard for you to get to the top in the company. And so that's why it's so important to learn this. And so, there were these 7 people at the office, and during all these meetings, it's about painting vision. It's creating a sense of urgency, talking about what's happening with momentum. This particular leader was telling these guys, like, listen, I'm getting ready to launch. Here's how many people I'm going to put into the business. Here's my income goal the next 18 months. And so all of that is happening and it's creating a sense of urgency. And so then the next meeting here at the office, which we had like, I don't know, like a week or two ago, there were 40 people that came to that meeting. So think about that. It started with one, then it duplicated from 1 to 7 and then to 40. And then so next week, this team has their next meeting and they're leveraging the office here. They have some local leaders, they're leveraging the office. We're going to talk about the different types of meetings and how that all works. But next week, there should be maybe 50 to 60 people here. But check this out. In between all of these live meetings, they're doing Zoom calls, they're doing presentations. There's one leader in their team doing like 9 freaking presentations a day. 9 a day. That's more than some leaders do in an entire year. 9 a day this one team's doing. And so some of the Zoom calls had 30 people, some had 40 people, and now there's 300 to 400 people on these calls. These guys they're hungry, they're motivated, and all they're focused on is launching. And so in 4 weeks, they've put in 2,948 affiliates and 352 customers. Okay, 9,000 or 2,900, almost 3,000 people and 350 customers in just 4 to 5 weeks. And so that is a great example of a team where the energy of that organization is focused on a new launch. They're launching their business. They're trying to get the word out to as many people as possible as they promote from meeting to meeting. So let's dive into that. The power of meetings and events. What can regular meetings and events do in your business? So there's a couple things. The first thing that's really important, I would definitely recommend to write this down, is it increases the number of new exposures in your team, right? Because we all know that the door to the money in network marketing is being able to attract affiliates and customers. If you get affiliates and customers, it leads to subscriptions, it leads to volume, it leads to rank ups, it leads to higher income. That's the door to the money. Well, the only way that you increase that is by increasing the number of new people that are taking a look at your business every day. And so that's the first like major benefit of having events happening in your team, is it increases new eyes in your team. And so if you're a leader and you've got a team and you're unaware of any meetings happening in your organization, then this is a great place to start, is with a relaunch of your business and starting to launch with some events. The second thing is it leads to regular signups and productivity. So, I talked about at the beginning, like you want your business to be predictable. Well, it's very hard for your business to be predictable if you don't have any meetings happening, you don't have any events. And so that's another, major benefit. And you almost have to here's another way to think about it before I go into some of the other benefits. You almost have to work your business during this launch phase like there's no tomorrow. Like the world's on fire. You almost have to think like you found a pot of gold and you're trying to find people that want to help you dig it out. And, like the world's on fire, everybody needs to run with you and get locked in right now. Like if you have that energy in your business, it's going to create something very special in terms of your momentum and your ability to get to the next level in the company. And so the third major benefit is it builds belief in your team. Okay, it builds belief in your team because when your team starts plugging in to regular events, it reiterates the information. And so that's another thing that's kind of interesting. It's more of a psychological effect when your team is exposed to presentations, right? Because sometimes your team will plug in and your team will bring guests. They start learning the presentation, they start learning the products, they start learning the compensation plan, and all of a sudden they hear something from you, they hear a testimonial, and now their belief is through the roof. And not only is their belief through the roof, they now have in their mind, they know how to do a presentation because they're seeing it so many times. So I've had people attend regular presentations, and they attend it for a couple months, 3 months, 6 months, a year. And then all of a sudden they're able to do a presentation because they've heard it so many freaking times. They're able to go out and create duplication and do the same thing. So that's another benefit of having lots of events happening in your team. And there's some people commenting, there's no events in my area. We're going to talk about that and how to fix that, because it starts with you, but we're going to get into that in a few. The fourth thing is it creates stability in your organization. It creates stability, which is really important, because if you have a lot of events in your team, whether it's home meetings, weekly meetings, super Saturdays, office meetings, regionals, like we're going to talk about the different type of events. But if you have a lot of that happening in your team, you will have better retention in your organization. It'll create stability because your team is plugged in to the culture of your group. If you don't have anything happening in your team, you're going to have a bunch of lost souls in your team. You're going to have a bunch of, like outcasts. People don't know what they're doing. They don't know what to plug into. They don't know what to promote. They don't know where to funnel people into. You just have a bunch of people that are they just joined the business. They're not really launching, they're not launching their business with you, which they could be doing if you have, a lot of events happening in your team. The fifth thing is it allows you to share success stories with your team, because what happens at a lot of events is you can bring people up for testimonials, and so as people are using the products, like as an example, the team that's been here at the office, several people got up and they talked about what Fuel Factor X has done for them in their vehicle as they're driving. Like, I got an extra 100 miles to the gas tank. I got an extra 75 miles to the gas tank, or I'm using this spray and I lost, 8 pounds, or I'm using, the Body Melt protein shakes and it's amazing, and so people start sharing all these success stories, which again creates retention, creates stability. It could cause other people in your team to start buying different products. So there's a lot of benefits by being able to feature different success stories in your group. And then another major benefit is it gives your team something to consistently promote. I think that's the biggest benefit, is if your team knows that every week you have a presentation happening, whether it's Thursday at 6 o'clock or Tuesday at 5 o'clock, and your team knows that they can count on that's what they're going to promote for, that you're going to be there every week. You're going to help them close their prospects. You're going to help do the presentation. You're going to help answer questions. You're going to help, walk through if they know that you're doing that, they will plug into it. They'll plug into it every week, and it'll grow and grow and grow the more consistent that you are. And so that's a big benefit. And then the last benefit is it creates faster duplication in your team. And so I'm going to share kind of a personal story, because this is what happened to me in my career. And then we'll break down the different types of meetings, and we'll talk about what it means to promote from event to event. So when I got into network marketing, I was a distributor. I was 18 years old. I was more introverted. I played chess. I wasn't very social. I was kind of a nerd, didn't want to talk to a lot of people. And so, when I got into network marketing, one of the fears that I had was public speaking and doing events and doing presentations. I always sat in the back of the class. I never raised my hand. That's just how I was as when I was 18, that's how I was. And in fact, I took a public speaking class in college, and I was so traumatized from that class that I never wanted to do public speaking. And so when I got into that company and my upline told me that I had to go in front of the room and present, I was absolutely terrified. I was terrified because that's totally against what I wanted to do. I had a fear of public speaking. And what I learned was that this is a skill that you can get better at. It's not like some people say, oh, he's a natural born speaker. Yes, there are some people that naturally they're amazing at what they can do. But for me, it wasn't natural. It's something that I had to learn over time. But the thing is the more you do it, the better you get. Like if you want to get really good at a presentation, the best way to get good at it is to do it 100 times. Do it 100 times. Do a presentation 100 times. And I bet you by the 100th time, it'll be your best presentation, because you learn all the things that you didn't like in your previous presentation. You just get better over time. And that's one of the amazing things about network marketing is it's a personal growth journey. So the more you do it, the better you get at it. And it's kind of a nice progression, because if you're naturally a good speaker or you're naturally a good presenter, maybe everybody doesn't relate with that. But when you have a progression, people relate with that, where it's like, hey, this guy he's not even a great public speaker, but look at him, he's ranking up in the company, he's making money, he's helping a lot of people. And so that's how it was for me. I was the top recruiter in the company and I was like the worst speaker. And so what happened over time is, as I presented more and as like the more I got in front of the room, it created a level of confidence in myself, and it created bigger belief in what I was doing, belief in the company. It helped boost my self-esteem. And every time I did a presentation, I got better and better and better and better. And so the other thing it did is it created duplication, because I had more leaders that I started to involve in my presentations. And then they eventually branched out and they were doing all their own presentations. And so your goal as a leader is you need to start the fire. You need to start the momentum, create the momentum. And this is one way that you can do that. But your end goal is to have a lot of people in your team doing presentations, whether it's a weekly meeting, home meetings, live streams. But your goal is to get a lot of people doing those presentations. So let's talk about the different types of meetings, because there's like I feel like there's a hierarchy of meetings. And if you understand what the different types of meetings are, this will help you. And like, especially to the person who commented, there's no meetings in my area. And so what do I do when there's no meetings for me to plug into? So let's talk about the different types of meetings. First one, very simple, old school, but it has worked for many years in network marketing. And it's referred to as a home meeting. A home meeting, or some people call it like a private business reception, a PBR, but you can call it a home meeting, a private business reception. This is a meeting. It's in your house. It's a smaller meeting, so it could be 5 to 10 people, depending on the size of your home. But the concept is you're inviting people over to your house. It's typically about an hour. And the reason why home meetings work is because your friends, coworkers, people that you're connected to, it's comfortable for them. Like they may be more comfortable in your home than going to a presentation. That's not the case for everybody, but maybe if it's like your best friend, somebody that you have a great relationship with, it could be comfortable for them. The other thing is it could be convenient for them. Maybe it's a neighbor, maybe they live, 2 doors down from you. And so for them to come over for an hour when they're a couple doors down, may be more convenient than them driving an hour to a presentation. That's, maybe there's a presentation happening, an hour from you guys. And so there's a convenience factor with a home meeting. And then also it's a familiar environment. So they may be more, comfortable, maybe familiar. They already know you, your kids, your family, and so that's one of the reasons why home meetings work so well. And so it could be 5 people, it could be 10 people, it could be 20 people, but this is a way where you can immediately launch your business, whether there's a meeting or an event happening in your area or not. And here's the next level of that, which is not only can you launch your business this way, but you don't even need to be an expert, because My Daily Choice has so many tools available to you. Like, for instance, we have that 23-minute opportunity presentation video. So if you're not comfortable presenting yet, because when I first started, I wasn't comfortable presenting. So I leveraged the videos and the systems and the tools until I was comfortable enough to get up there and do the presentation. And so during your home meeting, it could be as simple as you invite your friends over, you have a little bit of food out, and you talk about your story. And so this is one of the reasons why knowing your story is so important. Like, hey, I got involved in this company, and here's the reason why I got involved. I fell in love with this product. And it could be, Fuel Factor X, the sprays, body melt, Koshik's, whatever it is. I fell in love with the product, and here are the results that I've had with this particular product. Then I found out that this company has an amazing business opportunity. That's why I invited you guys over, and I'd love to play a short 23-minute video so you guys can see what I'm doing. And so that's how I've usually done a flow of a home meeting. Is if I'm leveraging the video, I'm just sharing my story, why I'm excited, painting a little vision, playing the video. And then after the video has played, it's very similar to my recruiting training, where, remember, in my recruiting training, I talked about peak, present, pass, or peak, present, enroll, and so during that peak phase, this is during the invite, where you're creating curiosity, you're piquing their interest, and you're inviting them to your house for a home meeting. At the home meeting is step 2, which is the presentation. You're playing the 23-minute video. And then step 3 is the enrollment. Who here is ready to get started, as an affiliate? Like, who's ready to get started? Are you ready to get started? You don't want to say, what does everybody think? You're looking for, and you're sorting for the people that are ready to run with you coming out of that home meeting. And so, if there's no events happening in your area, you live in a different country, you live across the country, you're not near the office, there's no leaders having meetings, do a home meeting first. Start with a home meeting. Invite your friends over. Go to your list. Start inviting people over, and you have a scheduled day and time. Make sure that you're able to play the presentation video, and so you have kind of a good flow for your home meeting. So that's like the first basic meeting or event that you can do in network marketing. It's a home meeting, and what's nice about it is, again, you don't have to have like a local event that's happening. You can immediately launch and jumpstart your business. And that's awesome, Patty. Patty says, I'm picking a date to do this as soon as this training is over. Exactly. If you haven't been doing this, this is an amazing way you can immediately start and launch your business. And it's kind of funny because when we start traditional businesses, like if you started a McDonald's or you started a retail store, any type of traditional businesses, we always have a grand opening. Anytime, like, you have balloons, you have food, you have like promotions, you have an invite list. It's almost like you're throwing a big party. But then people get into network marketing and they go into like witness protection. They're secret agents. It's like, you can't find them talking about their business at all. And so having this home meeting as your secret weapon, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can have a home meeting in My Daily Choice. So then the next step up from a home meeting is a weekly meeting. And this is really important to catch. So you want to have an event strategy in your team. You need to plan these events out in advance, because if you have an event strategy, you can promote from event to event. And that's where the momentum is created. That's what this team is doing. As an example, they're promoting from event to event at 10 a.m. Like, check this out. I'll draw it on paper. Okay. It's kind of like this. I don't know if you can see this. At 10 a.m. Okay. They have 10 people on their call. Okay. And so it could be a conference call. It doesn't have to be necessarily a home meeting, but you can promote from event to event with any meeting format. So 10 a.m. they have 10 people on the call, and they tell all those 10 people, listen, this is what we're doing. Here's our big business launch that's happening. This is amazing. You're some of the first people to hear about this. Our next call is going to be at 12 o'clock, 2 hours from now. And I need all of you to bring 10 people with you, right? Like, this is not a meeting that's happening a week from now. It's not a meeting that's happening 2 weeks from now. It's today. You have 2 hours. 2 hours. All 10 of you need to bring 10 people. If you guys want to launch, if you want to be first, if you want to be a part of this movement, if you want to create momentum with us, you want to be like here at the very beginning where we're going to absolutely crush this thing. Like they're creating a sense of urgency. They are painting a picture, a very vivid picture that if I don't get started right now, I'm going to miss out. The train's leaving, the train's leaving, it's gone, and I need to jump on right now. And then so at 12 o'clock, let's say they have 100 people on, so now it's 12 and they have 100 people on. They're going to tell all those 100 people the same thing, same exact thing. Look, our next call is at 2 o'clock. That's the next one today. So at 2 o'clock, you guys need to all bring 10 with you. Maybe not everybody brings 10, but maybe on their 2 o'clock call, they have 250 people show up, and so it went from, 10 people at the beginning of the morning to 100 to 250 people. Then the next meeting is at 4 o'clock. Maybe they have 400 people on that call. Not everybody brings 10, but, they went from 10 to 100 to 250 to 400 people. And they will do this constantly until the very end of the day. And the reason why I know this is because I've been here at the office working with several leaders that are doing this. They're launching every 2 hours. They have an opportunity presentation, and then they're doing a training, and then they're telling people to get to the next event and get to the next event. And it works extremely well to build massive momentum. And like, I was heavily involved with it one day here where I was like, what, I want to be a part of all their calls that they're doing. And I forgot to eat. And I'm like running around like crazy helping them with 3-way calls and helping them launch a team over here and launch a team over here. And it got to the point where their Zoom calls in a very short period of time have, 400 to 500 people on their Zoom calls. And so if you do this correctly, it can create a massive amount of momentum in your team. So the most basic fundamental event is a home meeting. You can also do a conference call as well. It could be a opportunity presentation conference call as your launch, or in My Daily Choice, we have live stream. It could be a live stream as well. After that, you really want to start thinking about a weekly meeting. This is usually in a hotel or an office. It could be a weekly conference call, or it could be a weekly Zoom. But the point is it happens once a week. It's reoccurring. And so the consistency of that is really key for your organization, because now everybody can promote from their home meeting into the weekly meeting, and your weekly meetings get a lot bigger. And so your weekly meeting is usually, if it's in person and it's at a hotel, it could be 50 to 100 people. If it's in an office, same thing. It could be 50 to 100 people. If it's on a conference call, it could be bigger. It could be 300 people. But the point is every week you're doing those weekly meetings, and it's usually an opportunity presentation, and then it's a very short training. And if you're looking to train something in My Daily Choice, my recommendation would be to train 10 and 2, teach people how to get to 500 to 1,000 per month, teach them how to promote to the next event, because that is what is going to help you build momentum very quickly in your team. After a weekly meeting, there's something in network marketing referred to, there's several different names for it, but a lot of people refer to it as a super Saturday. It happens on a Saturday, usually in a hotel, happens once per month, and it's a bigger event. It's bigger than your weekly meetings. It's bigger than your home meetings. It's bigger than your live streams. It's bigger than your conference calls. It's kind of like, it's a chance for you to get together and connect with your organization. And usually what happens at a Super Saturday is an opportunity presentation and a training, just like you would do at a weekly meeting, but usually you'll do some recognition as well. And so it gives your team an opportunity to be recognized for their accomplishments throughout the month. And that, again, builds success stories, builds momentum. It inspires other people. So now you're bringing everybody together. And you know what this really does is it compresses time frames. That's the biggest thing, because imagine, let's say it's a competition and it's you versus me. We're competing. Who can have the biggest organization? And let's say there's 8 weeks to compete. Okay. 2 months to compete, me against you. And here's your strategy. Your strategy is only posting on Facebook and doing one-on-ones. Talk to somebody, on Facebook, you do a couple phone calls, you post kind of when you want, versus me. And all I'm doing is launching with events. I have home meetings, I have conference calls, I have Zoom calls, I have weekly meetings, and I have a Super Saturday at the end of the month. Who is going to recruit more people? You or me? I'm going to recruit more. I'm going to have a bigger organization than you'll have. There's no chance you're going to out recruit my team if I have more meetings than you have. There's no chance. Like, people don't just show up in your organization like it's a miracle. You have to get out there and do the work and have consistent meetings for people to plug into. And so Super Saturday is a great way usually it's at the end of the month where you can celebrate everybody's, accomplishments. You can get, or it could be at the very beginning where you're celebrating them for, last month, but you could do, you could feature some of the different rank ups in your team. And again, if your team has been promoting from event to event throughout the whole month, you're going to have more success stories in your team that you can highlight. So now it's like, at the Super Saturday, let's say you bring up John as an example, and you say, look, this is John. He got started with us 3 weeks ago. He had his first home meeting. Then he promoted into a weekly meeting. He already hit the rank of 5K. He's only been in the business for 2 weeks. You start sharing all of these success stories at your Super Saturday where you have the most people plugged into that event. And that lights your team on fire going into the next month. And then the last hierarchy of meetings is convention. Convention, fortunately for you guys, you don't have to put on convention. It's put on by the company. There's training, there's keynote speakers, there's product launches, there's recognition. There's all kinds of amazing stuff that happens at convention. But if you don't show up with a lot of people at convention, your chances of success in like hitting the top ranks, like you could make like great part-time income, but if you're trying to get to the top ranks and you show up with nobody at convention, your chances are slim to none hitting the top. Like, your goal should be to promote from meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting. And each time you're going to the next meeting, you have more people there. And when you come to convention, it's like, wow, how did this person get so many people to convention? How are there so many people from Josh's team at convention? It's because I promoted from meeting to meeting to meeting. I got to a point as a distributor where I had people from different countries flying in to convention to receive their top income earner award at the convention, because we were so hardcore doing events, meetings, launching people all the time, that it was like when we all got together, it was all celebratory. Everybody was ranking up. Everybody had momentum. Everybody was growing. Everybody had like new success stories, a new top rank that was broken in their team. But that's because we had an event strategy. We had a meeting strategy. And so putting this in place in your team could change everything in your business. And one of the things that's really important as you create this event strategy is knowing how to invite. And we talked a little bit about this on the recruiting training, but we'll talk a little bit about that as well. And then we'll talk about increasing the number of presenters in your team too. So mastering the invite. So if you invite people correctly, it can make or break the turnout at your events, because if you're really bad at inviting, you may have like 0 people show up at your event. So you're putting a lot of time and work and effort in to host an event. But if you don't know how to teach your team how to invite, or if you're not inviting properly, you may be disappointed at how many people have turned out. And I've had meetings for different teams where you can visibly tell that the team is not good at inviting. You can just look at the turnout. If there's hundreds of people at a big event, then you know that the team knows how to invite. If there's nobody that shows up, the team hasn't figured out how to invite correctly. And so one of the things that I've always done to invite prospects to attend an event is, number one, I always talk about how much of a rush I'm in. I'm always in a hurry. I'm in a rush. I'm glad I caught you. And then the second thing I do is I always give them a compliment, because I'm looking for a certain type of person. I'm looking for a certain type of person in my team. I'm looking for somebody that's motivated. I'm looking for somebody that's business minded. I'm looking for somebody that's entrepreneurial. I'm looking for somebody that has an extreme work ethic. Those are the types of people I'm looking for. And so if I'm talking to a prospect that has identified that that's somebody that they're like, I'm going to say, look, you're one of the smartest people I know. Look, you're business minded, you're entrepreneurial. That's one of the reasons why I'm reaching out to you. And then I'm going to tell them where the event is and when it's happening. Look, there's an event happening. It's at the Sheraton. It's at Thursday. It's at 7:00, and we're going to be sharing about how you can create some residual income, leveraging some of the most amazing products that have hit the market. And I would really like for you to go with me. I'd like to invite you to go with me. And a lot of times when you do an invite like that, people will say yes, but sometimes you need to go the extra mile. Like maybe comment in the chat. Have you ever had people say, yes, I'm going to come to the event, or after you invite them and then they don't show up? Throw a comment in the chat if you've had people do a no-show on you. Anybody have a no-show? Lynn says yes. Lynn had a no-show. Karen's had a no-show. Aaron Parker's had a no-show. Everybody's had a no-show. Okay. And so one of the things that has worked for me is if you take an extra step and you say this, can I count on you being there? Can I count on you being there? I need a head count. Can I count on you being there at the event? A lot of times that extra step will increase the number of people that show up at the event for you. Can I count on you being there? Like, I need to know, are you going to be there? Can I count on you being there? Yes, you're going to be there. Okay, I'll meet you there at 6:30. I'm going to be 30 minutes early. And so are you saying that when you invite people to an event? Or because a lot of times people say, yeah, I'll see you there, and then they don't show up. Can I count on you being there? Because I'm really trying to identify who my top people are that I'm going to run with. And as soon as that person's there, and if they're ready to sign up, I'm going to be doing the same thing with them, getting them to invite everybody to the next event, wherever the next event is. And they're going to do the same thing. Can I count on you being there? Get everybody to the event, And so when you're inviting people to an event, you have to make it important enough, because remember, like, if I found a pot of gold, and I really feel like right now, I feel like My Daily Choice is a pot of gold. There's when you look at My Daily Choice and you see there's 950 SKUs, there's 10 brands, some of the most amazing, diverse products that you'd have to join like 10 different companies to promote all those different products. One of the most aggressive compensation plans, unbelievable technology that's 100% free, amazing timing, companies in momentum. It's a freaking gold mine. And so are you promoting it like it's a gold mine? Are you promoting it like it's just a cool business that you're a part of? Are you promoting it like the world's on fire and they need to know about the information that you have your hands on? Are you promoting it that way? Because when you make it important enough and you paint a vision and you talk about the momentum that's happening in the company and in your team, if you talk about first movers advantage, you're doing a big launch, you want everybody to be first, that creates a special energy in your team that you don't get from just kind of casually posting about your business. I know a lot of people, I call them casual posters. They casually post about their business. That's the extent of their involvement in the company. They casually post. There's a sale, casually post. There's a cool product launch, casually post. There's something cool happening, casually post. They're not launching. And if you can make it a focus where you're launching your business every day, it's a daily activity. If you're like, look at your team, look at your schedule, look at what's happening, in your daily schedule. How many times are you launching? If it's 0, you know exactly what you need to do after this training. So that's really critical. You got to make it important enough when you're doing the invite, because that'll help you dramatically increase the number of people coming to your presentations. Okay, and then let's talk about increasing the number of presenters in your team. So this is kind of an interesting concept because, again, I said at the beginning of this call, your goal is to increase how many people are doing a presentation. So think of it this way. Let's say right now in my team, I have 0 presentations happening, 0. The only time I'm creating exposures in my team is when my team casually posts. So right now, if that was my case, I don't have a predictable business because if you ask me, if this was an interview and you asked me, Josh, how many people do you expose to your business every week? I have no idea. I have no clue. I don't know how many meetings are happening. I don't know how many calls are happening. I don't know anything about my business. I just know that I have some leaders over here. They post on Facebook. I have some leaders over here. They are occasionally excited. I don't have a predictable business. I don't really have anything to stand on because there's no meetings happening. There's nothing for people to plug into in my organization. Now, fortunately, as a company, we have a lot of things at a company level for people to plug into, like these calls. We've done our own, like Jenna did an amazing HempWorks live stream, so at a minimum, people should be plugged into that. But as a leader, this is a strategy that you should really start thinking about is how many presenters are in your team. Now, this doesn't mean how many people can deliver an amazing presentation, because that's going to be a smaller number because it takes time. It takes time for people to get better now, and they get better by attending a lot of presentations because they hear it over and over again. But how many people do you have doing a presentation? Not necessarily they're amazing at a presentation, but how many people are doing a home meeting? How many people have their own weekly meeting? Your goal is to increase the number of qualified presenters that are having a presentation in your group. If you can do that, that your business will become more predictable, because if you have, let's say you have 10 weekly meetings happening in your team, you have 5 leaders over here, and maybe one's in California, one's in Texas, one's in Florida, one's in, a different country, somewhere in Africa, somewhere in Europe, somewhere in Asia. You have 10 weekly meetings happening. And at all 10 of those weekly meetings, let's say you're exposing 20 people per week. You get 20 people to show up at all those weekly meetings. Now you're exposing 200 people per week to your business, 200. Now, let's say, half of those 200 enroll. So now you have, 100 people, 100 new people in your business. And let's say you teach all of them to have their own home meetings and their own weekly meetings. Now you just went from 10 meetings to 110 meetings, right? And so if in the same example, if you had 20 people that you were exposing per week, now you're exposing 2,000 people per week. So this team didn't get to 3,000 people by accident. They did it because they are promoting from meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting, to event to event to event to event, from live stream to live stream to live stream to live stream. And so one thing you should do as a leader, if you haven't done this yet, and even if you're a super affiliate, a 500K affiliate, you should be doing this. Take inventory of who's presenting in your team. It's kind of a scary exercise because if you don't have a lot of presentations happening in your team, you start to realize very quickly where the holes are in your group. You start to realize very quickly why your team is not growing, why your team doesn't have as much activity or as many signups as they could, because you're not exposing a lot of people through the meetings that could be happening in your organization. And some of you on this call have thousands and thousands of affiliates in your team. And all it takes is a quick conversation and reaching out to your leaders and finding out who's doing a weekly presentation or having a home meeting or doing live stream or doing conference calls. And so the first thing, after you take inventory of that, you want to start encouraging your leaders. One, they can watch this video. If they're confused as to why they should have a meeting, have them watch this video. This training should clear it up for them. But then number two is encourage them to get started, put it on the schedule and make it reoccurring every Thursday, every Tuesday. And you can, as a leader, you can support, you can support some of those meetings. You can come to the first couple, you can come to these different meetings. And then eventually your goal is to make it duplicatable where those meetings live and they go on consistently without you. We're talking of like network marketing is about duplication. It's about duplication. Talk to anybody who's made 7 figures, 8 figures, 9 figures. It's about duplication. You cannot create duplication if you are the one doing the presentation every time. You can't. If you're the guy and you're the presenter and you're always going to be the presenter, you will not have duplication in your team. You have to increase the number of presenters in your team. And again, they don't have to be amazing at doing a presentation because My Daily Choice has so many tools that they can leverage. It could be as simple as them getting up there, playing a 23-minute video. Talk about how duplicatable that is. Can you teach people to play a video? Can you teach people to tell their story about what product they're excited about and getting results and then just play a video and then ask who's ready to get started? Can you teach that to your team? Because that is extremely duplicatable. Everybody can invite, get there, play a video, tell their story, ask who's ready to sign up. Now, as they get better, they can do like PowerPoint slides, or they can do, but before, like the first company that I was in, we didn't even have PowerPoint slides. All we had was a video. And so that's the video I used. I did every single event that I did, played the video. And like, you almost have to master the mundane in this business. You have like a lot. I know some leaders that are like, oh, well, I've already done that before. I've already played the video or already did slides. Or your goal is not to be creative each time. Your goal is not to, come up with something new and slick each time you do a present. It's to create consistency and stability in your team, something that people can count on that's reoccurring. And so you want to definitely encourage all of your leaders to start hosting their own presentations, and then, start looking in your group. How many presentations per month is your organization doing? You want to 10x your volume. You want to 10x you want to rank up 5 times in the company, 10x the number of presentations that are happening in your team. Get them on live stream, get them doing a weekly conference call, get them doing home meetings, get them doing a weekly reoccurring meeting, and it will make all the difference in your team. And if none of that is happening yet in your team, it has to start with somebody, and that somebody is you. And so for the people, again, that have been commenting, like, I don't, there's no leaders in my area and this and that, like, you're the leader. You be the leader. You be the person that starts the meeting. Get a group of people together, get them to come into your house, play the video. If it's got to be up to somebody, it should be up to you, because if you're waiting for the company to put on an event in your area, you're not going to take it to the next level. Because, we as a company, like, yeah, we may come to your area at some point. There may be a local event for you to plug into, but that may not be the case. And are you going to wait 6 months before you launch your business? You're going to wait 90 days before you launch, or a year before you launch? No, you need to launch right now. Like, and I really feel like the train is leaving in My Daily Choice right now. Like, we are attracting some of the most amazing leaders, some of the most amazing networkers, celebrities, athletes, fighters. Like, we are attracting people all over the place that are seeing what you saw when you join My Daily Choice. They're seeing the products, the comp plan, the tech. People are starting to see it. They're starting to get into My Daily Choice, and they're starting to launch ferociously. And so the train is leaving, and you don't want to be left behind because you're waiting, thinking that the company is going to do a roadshow in your area, and that's the only time you're going to be able to plug in. You need to launch, right? You need to launch yesterday, but yesterday's already in the past, so you need to launch right now, like you have a freaking gold mine with MDC. There is no company like MDC on the planet. You have a gold mine and you're looking for people to help you dig the gold out. Imagine you treated your business like that right now. Imagine you felt like this was a gold mine and all you needed to do was find people that are willing to come over to your house, get the big pot of gold out, and they can take however much they want. They want to take the whole pot, they can take the whole pot. They want to take half the pot, they can take half the pot. But you're bringing everybody over to go dig. You're bringing everybody over to dig for gold. If you promoted your meetings like that, imagine what that could do for your business. So hopefully you guys got something out of this training. There is no better time than now to do meetings. And COVID is just an excuse now for the leaders that are like, don't want to people are traveling again. Traveling is opening up. I'm actually going to do a live stream about our High Life travel product now that the world is like semi-normal again and people are traveling. But there is no better time than now to start doing events and meetings and get out there and launch like the big companies do, launch like Xbox does, and like iPhone, and all these big businesses are doing launches, and you should be doing launches too for your network marketing, My Daily Choice business. So thank you again for this training. I believe Jenna is going to be doing the next series. I don't hold me to that, but there's going to be some amazing training in the future in My Daily Choice. But feel free to use this training video, all of the previous training videos I've done in my series. It has been an absolute pleasure to come onto these 6 training videos and give you guys some knowledge, things that are working in the company and that have worked for me in the past as a distributor in the field. I hope you guys got a lot of value out of it. I hope you guys will share these videos with your team, because it could make a huge difference to help you with your volume, your rank, your momentum. And so I see there's so many great comments. I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of My Daily Choice. I can't wait to come back and do future training. I'll see you guys all at the top. Thank you again.